Also yesterday, though, a lot of people, I'd really like to know from the group. I don't know how much Saban coverage you guys consumed yesterday, but if anyone ended up on the other side of this, because I believe Nick Saban making as much money as he did in that sport and then coming out against the idea of the sport can't be about money the moment I lose control of the money and everyone can get the money. But when Nick Saban says what I'm about to play here, I want to ask you guys if you heard anyone supporting Nick Saban, any media members, when I think about the disconnect about what college fans might want in terms of freedom in this realm, whether they'd want Nick Saban in charge, and if the media just goes the other way, which I'm going to go as well, where I just point out the hypocrisy again and again of how much money this man made off of the backs of these kids.
All the things that I believed in for all these years, 50 years of coaching, no longer exist in college athletics. So it's always was about developing players. It was always about helping people be more successful in life. My wife even said to me, we'd have all the recruits over on Sunday with their parents for breakfast, and she would always meet with the mothers and talk about how she was going to help and impact their sons and how they would be well taken care of. And she came to me, like right before I retired and said, why are we doing this? And I said, what do you mean? She said, all they care about is how much you're going to pay them. They don't care about how you're going to develop them, which is all what we've always done. So why are we doing this? So, to me, that was sort of a red alert that we really are creating a circumstance here that is not beneficial to the development of young people, which is why I always did what I did. My dad did it. I did it. And that's the reason that I always like college athletics more than the NFL is because you had the opportunity to develop young people. So, and I want their quality of life to be good. I think, as I said before, name, image, and likeness is a great opportunity for them to create a brand for themselves. I'm not against that at all. But to come up with some kind of a system that still can help the development of young people, I think, is paramount to the future of college athletics.
Way to throw Miss Terry under the bus there.
Great tan, though.
Well, he's probably been playing golf every day for the last 2 months.
You were howling with laughter. I'm assuming that's what the media's response is. I don't think I've been talking for a while about the idea of just greed, resplendent, unwavering greed, not just in sports, but everywhere. Everywhere on the globe has been a rotting contaminant. But when it gets to the kids is when it's a problem. When it gets to college kids want to be paid for it, then all of a sudden Nick Saban is next to Ted Cruz, and he's comfortable going sort of the Tuberville route of what can I do in my region of the country to get the people who I'm surrounded by who believe the college kid should be kept down because it gets in the way of the greater good of Alabama being the best.
But he's not against NIL.
Well, this isn't the first time that he's said this. Remember when him and Jimbo Fisher got into it 2 summers ago and he was like, Texas A&M is buying all their players, and Jimbo Fisher got really upset and bristled at that. Like, this has been, I think, his viewpoint for a while. And I would say probably a lot of people, I can't speak for the media reaction as a whole, but I think a lot of people do think that there needs to be some regulation and restriction to NIL. The problem has always been, how do you do that, and how do you put a cap on athlete compensation for their name, image, and likeness, and who regulates that, and what is that when the coaches have unfettered access to wealth and riches for coaching in the sport? That's always been the issue.
What were you laughing at, Amin?
Oh, so many things. First of all, he was acting his ass off with his voice breaking there, like, oh, the kids, and so that made me laugh. But then I looked at Ted Cruz gazing at him lovingly, and I just thought, how big is Ted Cruz's boner right now? About like, let's not play these black kids. Let's keep them broke for life or whatever. And then the coup de grace, like, that's why I like college football more than NFL. Because I couldn't tell them naysayers what to do. They were getting paid. These ones over here, I could tell them everything. I was like, come on, man. That whole thing was just hilarity. Midway through it, I tried to imagine if this were like 1866 and this is like a former plantation owner. Like
we should have put him in a powdered wig.
No.
Nick Saban should have been wearing a powdered wig.
The Colonel Sanders suit. He should have been dressed like Don Johnson and Django, talking about like, I can't tell them what to do now. All they care about is getting paid. No shit, Sherlock. You got paid for 50 years.
Well, also,
and you've been paying them for 10 years.
Players went to Alabama so they could get paid in the NFL. So it's not like they didn't care about money beforehand. Plus, obviously, players were getting paid in a even less regulated way. And he also went on to talk about parity and like this will make the rich richer and the poor poorer. Like, I don't even know how to begin to unpack that when you've been the head coach at Alabama for like 20 years.
Well, I'm about to.
You are the
no,
rich.
I'm gonna do this for you right now. I'm going to unpack it for you with the details that you might want on this.
That's very nice of you.
I have them all in front of me here because, well, I shouldn't say all.
I hate unpacking.
I shouldn't say all.
I like packing, though.
I don't have them all in front of me. You like packing?
I like packing. It's anticipation. Like, here we go. We're going on a
when
trip.
When you're packing, you're going somewhere, presumably fun.
Yes.
You know, maybe on vacation. But when
What's
you're
a vacation?
unpacking, it's a hassle because you just want to get to the fun. Right? Yeah.
These numbers, though, Stugotz, on Nick Saban, because maybe none of these are surprising to you. This is just what's known. I would like for you guys to look up for me what the second highest paid state employee in Alabama has been over the last 20 years, because he made $124 million in contracts at just Alabama, and Stugotz was probably underpaid.
Yep.
He had a country club membership paid for by the university, so that's taxpayers. He's got 2 full-sized cars for business and personal use, and no one knows whether those were part of the Ferrari collection he would show to recruits, but he would show a Ferrari collection to recruits. I don't imagine Nick Saban with Ferraris, but maybe you did. He has 24 hours a year on non-commercial airlines, so anytime he wants a private plane, basically he can do it. His salary the last season was $11.4 million, and I'm guessing there's no college coach who made more in endorsements. It's estimated at $5 million. He'd get $75,000 for appearing in the SEC championship game, $125,000 if he won it. He'd get $65,000 for appearing in any bowl game at all. He bought a mansion recently on Juniper Island for $17.5 million. The $5 million in endorsements is a guess, but it's got to be more than any other college coach of any kind. And in 2013, 10 years ago, and we don't know how many more of these arrangements there are, right? Because guys like this get paid $200,000 for showing up and making a corporate speech. Just shaking hands with your CEO for 30 minutes, he gets $250,000 at least. The Crimson Tide Foundation was started, a private foundation set up to help fund athletics at Alabama. They spent $3.1 million to just buy Saban's 4-bedroom, 4.5-bathroom home, and he continued to live in it. So they just bought his house as well. And nobody had this deal. And then there's this one. This one's good too. And by the way, deserved, earned for the CEO of this business. His contract called for him at the University of Alabama to meet each February to calculate the average salaries of both the 3 highest paid head coaches in the SEC and the 5 highest paid coaches nationally. If Saban's total salary was lower than either of those 2 averages, his pay would rise to match the higher one. So inflation was not going to cause Nick Saban to ever be like Jared Goff was, where he was the highest paid. No, Nick Saban's always the highest paid according to whatever you're paying people at that rate. Like, what's the other argument on the other side of this?
And that's why I like college more than the NFL.
Mahomes should take notes from that.
Instead of cutting salary?
No, I'm just saying, he should be doing that for all the quarterbacks in the league with the Chiefs.
But this, and then he leaves, and Steve Sarkisian gets the same sort of deal at Texas.
Well, he had leverage. I mean,